The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis speaking out on the Marvin Dames issue. The cross-dressing pretend lawyer in court today. Not sure if he was dressed as a man or the woman he pretended to be. We'll get a look at that as well. And tonight, it's temperature check. That's right. Take a look at this, you all. Merch, okay? You will see my team in just a moment. But look at this. Merch. Temperature check. Tonight, where we're looking? The South and Central Andros and Mangrove Key constituency. It's all straight ahead for you this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, former National Security Minister Marvin Dames now under intense scrutiny as the U.S. drug trafficking investigation could have some wider implications for him. Today, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis spoke to the media about the Dames issue.
Minnis, who appointed Dames as National Security Minister, says he may have handled the political fallout differently if he were still party leader.
Under my leadership and review the records, these matters or matters of that nature would not make a second newspaper cycle. They're dealt with abruptly.
Did you ever receive any complaints when you were in power at the time about Mr. Dames?
No, absolutely none. Absolutely none.
Former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis speaking there on the Marvin Dames issue, suggesting that perhaps if he were Prime Minister, that wouldn't have been dragging on. But then I guess if he were Prime Minister in an F&M administration and Dames was his candidate or member of Parliament or minister, perhaps he could say that. But you know what? I am going to get into it and let my panelists respond. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, the temperature check crew. Yes, Howard Johnson, it's good to have you here in Nassau, Bahamas. If you can tilt your camera just a little so we could see your temperature check shirt. But good evening to you, Peggy Candace, Gabrielle McKenzie Aeneas, Howard Johnson. Good evening to all of y'all.
Good evening, everyone. It's a temperature check Wednesday.
Listen, merch has landed. Thanks to Howard.
Yes.
Merch has landed. And
Thank you
so
much,
Howard. It's good to see you as well. You all, this is a really serious matter that's happening. We know from early yesterday, the former Minister of National Security, the former Member of Parliament, now candidate for Mount Moriah, said, listen, he knows the individual who is now in U.S. custody. He said that they are business partners and not much more after that. Your thoughts on even what the former Prime Minister Dr. Minnis had to say in terms of how he would have had this play out, but just where Marvin Dames finds himself this evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me again, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. I mean, he is in a very tight spot as the candidate, ratified candidate for Mount Moriah. It will be a dark cloud over the F&M campaign. Today, it seems like they're going to stick with their guy and they're going to continue on, but I believe that there will be a big fallout. If you remember when Mr. Dames was presented to the public, Bahamian public, as the candidate, there was no, chairs. People were saying, I mean, you lose me on this one. Why are they bringing him back again? He is not a very popular guy for different reasons. And so to take the risk even more with Mr. Dames will be very interesting for the F&M. And so this is be watching. I mean, there are so many different little dots being connected to the story. The public, especially social media crew, they're running wild in the WhatsApp chats. And so everybody's speculating. I think the boat was confirmed to be attached to Marvin Dames. Also, as more information is released to us, I think it looked worse for Mr. Dames.
The boat is registered in his name, so it is his boat. He apparently also operates a sort of a maritime type business, not so sure if it's sport fishing, that type thing. And so perhaps that's where that vessel comes into play, Gabrielle.
Yeah, so there's too little information to just be speculating. A lot of things of this nature transpired. We've seen an MP go to court and beat the case while there. So we don't want to besmirch anyone's name before we have the facts laid before us, and then we find ourselves recanting statements or, just it's a slippery slope. So I personally would like to wait until we get a little bit more information to draw a conclusion on that. But what I would like to comment on is former Prime Minister Hubert Alexander Minnis. Hi, Doc.
Oh.
How you doing? Doc said he would have dealt with this exponentially had he been the leader. Mm-hmm. The leader. Mm-hmm. You're not. 2 times over. The people have already said it. So stop coming to the media at this point, reminding us that what you would have done. I think the Free National Movement and its members have made it very clear that they have rejected your leadership.
But Gabrielle,
therefore, I think, Dr. Minnis, at this time, just focus on that campaign that you have said you would be mounting in Kalani, independently. You said that you are still an FNM. I love you dearly.
Do you?
You do?
You do?
This don't sound like love
This
to
don't
me.
love-
Sometimes
Don't
they
give me
say
that
tough
type
love's
love.
the best love of all the love there is. Dr. Minnis had to give me some tough love before. So I just want
Your
to
time.
extend the favor to him and let him know that
And you used to be Dove
my
Girl for true.
former
Gabrielle.
Prime Minister.
She used to be Dove Girl,
My former Prime Minister. Sit this one out, okay?
Gabrielle,
Don't
Gabrielle,
sit that one out.
do
Leave
you
that alone,
not-
because Marvin Dames was your boy too.
You
so
was his
let's
girl.
leave that
You're in
alone.
trouble.
Let's leave that alone.
That's
Gabrielle,
why
do
I
you
call
not
him
feel
messy.
a former
XOXO.
Ooh, Gabrielle-
XOXO.
Wow. Dog say keep your little fake hugs and kisses. He say keep that fake hugs and kisses.
Effing
Gabrielle,
mess.
XOXO.
before
effing
Howard
mess.
comes in, I want to ask you, Gabrielle, a whole former Prime Minister can't give an opinion?
No, I think he didn't give an opinion. If you're going to, don't be tepid with it. If you're going to say what you're going to do, say what you're going to do.
What if he said it? You would've beat him.
He was very tepid when the reporter questioned and said, what would you have done? Crickets.
Oh.
If you ain't going to tell us what you're going to do, then what was the comment about? Okay?
Whip whop.
Thank you.
Howard,
Kim,
Thank
have
you,
that music?
next.
Howard, your thoughts on even if
Oh, they
you
could be mad at me. Hold
Howard,
on.
I don't know if you want to go down the path that Gabrielle just went.
Leave her right there alone.
But your thoughts on this whole Marvin Dames matter and the fact that Marvin Dames has said, again, I want to state this here before you respond. Listen, yes, he and the gentleman are business partners. Not sure if it's something that's current. Not sure exactly how. Peggy, you sip that tea and hug. Not sure exactly where the relationship is right now. We know the boat is obviously in Marvin Dames' name. But again, he said he knows nothing about nothing that took place on U.S. shores. Your thoughts, Howard, on even what Dr. Minnis had to say, or didn't quite say?
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, colleagues, and good evening, Bahamas. So this one is very dicey and very complex because starting with Dr. Minnis, Dr. Minnis has the right to take a retrospective look at something that, would have come up under his government and how he would have dealt with it. He has the right to his opinion. However, we are where we are with this particular situation. Marvin Dames is a candidate for the Free National Movement, duly ratified, and I believe that he is going to go straight through to the election. And so what is going to happen now with Marvin Dames is, if he is suffering any reputational damage from social media or from out in the Bahamian public, that is going to be tested via the people of Mount Moriah at the ballot box. And so that's the chance that the FNM has decided that they want to take. It's kind of tough because I look at myself. I am a business partner with several partners in a company in the United States. I am also involved in a nonprofit organization that I head in the United States. Every person that is involved in my private business and in my nonprofit organization, none of them have a criminal record. None of them are known to law enforcement. However, that was when we started doing business in that organization. We could run afoul of the law after we have commenced with business operations. And so when that happens, does it say that I am involved in criminal activity because one of my business partners decided to run afoul of the law? This is where it becomes dicey, and this is where the questions are asked relative to whether or not you had knowledge of such criminal activities and criminal behavior. For political purposes, however, I'll restate, Marvin Dames and this particular situation will be really tested when the people of Mount Moriah go to the ballot boxes. And the Free National Movement, if there is any, the Free National Movement will have to deal with the reputational fallout and how this is going to intersect with the national campaign
But
that
you
they're
all,
running.
and I know we're in a political season. I think maybe it was you, Peggy, that also mentioned politics. But do you think the gentleman has put it out there on Front Street, listen, yeah, my boat, my partner, all the rest of it. But like you say, Howard, you can't give an account for what everybody else doing. So what I'm saying, do you think this will somehow seep into his political aspirations now?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, because it is now being used. I mean, the memes are going crazy. It's the assumption you say, oh, we shouldn't assume, but the assumptions are just over the top. And some people will be affected in their judgment by this. Some Bahamians don't want to be associated in that regard.
He could still beat this though, Peggy. If Kirk Cornish could
Kirk Cornish went to court.
Yes, and this
Kirk
is what
Cornish
I'm saying.
went to court,
and
so you
there was an entire court case while he was a sitting member of parliament, and he stayed there,
but he
stayed in his role and beat it.
He was
and there was a
elected, you're
part of
mixing it up.
public opinion as
I
well.
promise you all.
So
I
I'm
promise
saying
you
let it
both.
play out.
Listen, I know we are going to hear a whole lot more about this, and I promise to give you all half a show that we all could just talk about this Dames matter and any other person who faced legal hearings. Adrian, and let me tell you, and Adrian is going to. Howard, I have a whole show to move on to. You know, not because you and Nassau you feel you could talk. Guess how it's going. That's what it is. Too much
I'm looking at Peggy and Gabby right now, right? At the height of election season, I'm looking at what they're talking about. And listen, both of them are right. Peggy is saying, well, this one did this in the FNM. And Gabby is saying, well, this one did this to the PLP. Guess what's lost? Guess what's lost, lady? What's lost is what we need to be talking about that is really important to taking the Bahamas and moving it forward. And that's what are these parties going to do if either of them become the next government of the Bahamas. That's what needs to be talked about.
We like to talk about
and
it.
we'll talk.
We will
talk about it. I promise you all. Listen, this election season is just getting started. We know that this is a part of what temperature check is here for. So let's move this forward. Though you all, a very serious issue is perhaps just unfolding very, very close to us. A deadly confrontation at sea between Cuban border forces and a U.S. registered boat. This happened earlier today, has left 4 people dead and 6 others injured, sparking international attention and calls for an investigation. Cuban authorities say the incident unfolded off the north-central coast of the island when a Florida-tagged vessel entered Cuban waters and refused orders to stop. The Ministry of the Interior claims those on board opened fire on Border Patrol officers, injuring a Cuban commander. Cuban officers and forces then returned fire, resulting in 4 fatalities and multiple injuries on board that speedboat. The identities of those on board have not yet been officially confirmed, and it remains unclear whether any were U.S. citizens in the United States. Officials are calling for a full investigation into the use of the lethal force, while Cuban authorities maintain they were defending their sovereignty. Now, the incident comes amid heightened tensions between Havana and Washington. You all know this, as Cuba continues to face significant economic pressure and internal strain. So, we will continue to monitor this developing story, obviously. The Royal Bahamas Defense Force tonight is saying that they are preparing for a possible increase in Cuban migration as regional pressures build. We get this story from Daniel Dean.
Ongoing economic strain in Cuba, including persistent power outages and fuel shortages, has authorities here on alert. Defense Force officials say while there is no current surge, they are proactively positioning resources should migration activity increase.
We know that in the aftermath of certain hurricanes, certain power outages in Cuba, we start to see mass migration.
The force is paying particular attention to known entry points including the Bahama Bank, Anguilla Keys, and Key Lobos, areas historically used by migrants traveling by sea.
We are positioning our fleet, our force in that area in case we start to see migration that we anticipate may happen.
Minister of National Security Wayne Munroe says this level of preparedness is not new. He points to similar strategic posturing during heightened regional instability in the past, stressing that the Defense Force continues to adapt its response based on developments.
So the two places where you have the major migrant apprehension by the Royal Bahamas Defense Force is from Haiti and Cuba. And so they would be getting their posture together for that.
Munroe also noted that monitoring will not be limited to sea-based patrols.
We have other assets there, aerial assets, and the Coast Guard cooperates with the police force and Defense Force. The Cuban Border Patrol shares information with us.
Officials say they are working with regional and international partners to ensure a coordinated response if necessary. Danielle Dean, Eyewitness News.
You all, this is something that I really wanted to include this evening, and while there isn't much to say because we all just watching this play out, that you all see that the Defense Force is on guard in case there are some mass exoduses from Cuba, as you know, you see what's happening from fuel to power. Hopefully there isn't food shortages and whatnot, because the United States will, if they must, respond mightily. It's quite unfortunate this happened this way. Was the force by the Cuban authorities necessary? Well, they say they were opened fire on first, and they responded.
Well, the investigation is new, the story is new, but I can't help, as a former Marine, remember our interacting with Cuban on their water and how serious they take their borders and their boundaries. Remember, we lost men in 1980. And so this is a very sobering story, and I indeed will be following.
Yeah, I think that they are going to protect their country and do its best to protect their sovereignty, as the Bahamas will do to protect theirs, and so will America. So, I mean, condolences to the lives lost in this. It's unfortunate what it has come to. The human rights aspect of this, there's a lot going on to Cuba. They are absolutely going through it.
They've really been sort of almost squeezed now for decades from the embargoes and so much, and now they find themselves here.
They can't catch a break. So I would not be surprised if if that mass exodus does happen and they start to trickle out, as we've seen them done historically before when they were going to the U.S. in that sort of wet foot, dry land situation. Once they get there, they were safe. We don't know what's going to happen. We may end up seeing some of them on our shores in the Bahamas or even throughout the islands in the Caribbean.
Yes, Janique, I completely agree with my colleagues that, and I think that the Defense Force is doing right by us in terms of making themselves ready for any eventuality and preparing for any scenario. However, one of the things that I believe that we're overlooking, even though the situation is quite fluid, is that this level of instability, this level of chaos, this level of anxiety that is going on in Cuba is not only social, but it's also political as well. And I believe that the United States is definitely going to probably use this as a pretext to have another Venezuela moment here in the Caribbean.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. You all, meanwhile, though, we will continue, obviously, to monitor that. But let's just move on to this. This story, perhaps it's a story so far for the first, 2.5 months, nearly 3 into the year. The man revealed in court as a cross-dresser who posed as a female attorney in a shocking fraud scheme is back before the courts. That's right, he was before the courts today. This time on child cruelty charges. This guy is he's extremely talented. 30-year-old Chemo McIntosh returned to the Grand Bahama Magistrates Court, where he pleaded guilty before Magistrate and Chief Magistrate Carlton Smith to 2 counts of cruelty to a minor and 1 count of procuration. I should have looked at that word before, I tell you that. The court heard that McIntosh served alcohol to 2 minors, ages 16 and 17. He was sentenced to 2 years on each count of cruelty to a minor to run concurrently, and 3 years and 4 months for procuration, also to run concurrently. Now, McIntosh was also sentenced earlier this week to 3 counts and 3 years in prison, after admitting to more than 50 offenses in separate fraud cases. Also, now we're going to continue on with this because this is a story that Linton Ritchie has been following since yesterday. So get this, in a shocking case of deception in Grand Bahama, has left the legal arena in Grand Bahama spiraling, as you can imagine, with tons of questions and a plea to the public on lawful representation. Linton Ritchie Jr. has the story, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
The legal fraternity across Grand Bahama shocked and now sounding the alarm, urging residents to do their due diligence when seeking legal representation after a fraudulent scheme ran by a 30-year-old man saw several people losing thousands of dollars. Prosecutors say Chemo McIntosh posed as a female attorney, dressing as a woman and operating under the alias Laniqua Roll to convince clients he was a legitimate member of the bar. Prominent attorney at law Constance McDonald KC says the aftermath of the illegal operation highlights just how vulnerable members of the public can be.
The fact that persons are, would go to someone without even verifying that they are an attorney tells me that, there's a lot more awareness that we need in this community.
According to prosecutors, McIntosh offered bail services and legal representation backed by forged court documents that never existed. McDonald, who has practiced law for decades, says she's never seen a scheme of this magnitude, particularly in a small community with access to verifiable legal resources.
You can go to the bar website and just check the list of attorneys. And then, as lawyers, we're supposed to be known by our reputation. I find it just incredulous, unbelievable.
She warns that incidents like this not only harm victims financially, but also threaten public trust in the legal profession.
We don't want persons to think of us adversely. I think that any lawyer who would have found out have a duty, a responsibility to report that person, because otherwise, it would tarnish our reputation.
McIntosh has been sentenced to 3 years at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. During his guilty plea, he indicated a willingness to repay the victims. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
Of course, we talked about that last night. He appeared in court earlier this week and again today. I want to bring you all in very, very quickly. This is really stunning. I'm wondering if he ever made it to court. Who is it who was not paying attention? And then who hired this gentleman to engage him to represent them? It really is just quite interesting, intriguing, and quite funny.
A movie. And I would guess, my guess would be, it is a matter of affordability. I think he offered the right price for representing them.
But I don't even think they'd have to make it to court. You pay lawyers consultation fees. So by the time as you swindle X amount of people out of just, lawyers charge a fee just to hear you before they even know if you have a case. We recently saw on the news that those fees went up. Yeah. So him advertising through whatever means, be it social media or whatever, who's going to say, I don't think the onus should be put on those clients. Who's going to say, oh, you're not a lawyer, show me your credentials.
No one.
When he then watch all kind of court TV and say, oh ma'am, what's your case today? Let me take some notes and see if you have a case.
Trained by YouTube.
$350 for this consultation.
Trained by YouTube, Howard.
Okay.
Shanique, this is a serious issue, and I think 3 years is light for him, is a light sentence for him to get off on, because you're pretending to be an officer of the court. You're defrauding multiple victims. And I mean, it just seems like this is like what I would have done. I mean, and of course you have sentencing guidelines, but just to keep it lighthearted, they only charged and McIntosh got the 3 years. I would have given him in his male capacity the years, and then I would have dressed him up as Miss Roll, and I would have bring Miss Roll back, and I would have charged Miss Roll and sentenced her. So let the two of them go to jail.
Listen to me. Sentence him as Miss Roll. Sentence him as the man that he is. Howard, you know something? Go to the head of the class tonight. That's you the star tonight. Listen, when we come back, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it is temperature check. Pull up a chair, you all. We are looking at the South and Central Andros Mangrove Key constituency. We're back right after this.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash. And you know how Superwash always have the latest and greatest model of washer and dryer? Well, they thought it's about time they get the latest supermodel as well.
Hey, wait a minute, Mr. Charlie Banana. Just because Superwash always changing and upgrading their machines, I mean they gotta change those spokes, but they got the newest washer and dryer, and they always upgrading all their locations. And these two models, they ain't got to change. Superwash, they washes you, cleans you, presses you 24/7.
Introducing the Easy Renew portal, brought to you by the National Insurance Board. Renewing your national insurance card has never been easier.
I can renew our cards right from the comfort of our home.
And it's so convenient.
Wow.
Whether you're at work or studying hard at the library, even when you're on the go or enjoying retirement.
This is so easy.
Day or night, the Easy Renew portal is there for you. Easy Renew portal. Convenience at your fingertips. Are you self-employed or have a small business that's looking for a faster, easier way to submit your C10 statements and pay NIB contributions? Sign up for the NIB C10 Easy Submit and Pay mobile app today. It's quick, secure, and takes just 5 simple steps. You will need a completed R1 business registration form and 2 forms of ID, a passport, voter's card, NIB card, or driver's license. Choose your role and enter your info, NI number, employer's NI number, name, and date of birth. Hit next. Enter your email. Check your inbox for the code, then type it in to verify. Upload the R1 form and your 2 forms of ID and tap submit. Track your application anytime by tapping check status. Once approved, you'll get your confirmation and PIN by email within 24 to 72 hours. Return to the app, tap register now, set your login details and enter your final code. That's it. You're now ready to manage your NIB contributions anytime, anywhere. Self-employed persons, small business owners, skip the line, save time. Download the NIB C10 Easy Submit and Pay mobile app today.
103.5 is turning 8 years old. 103.5 The Beat and Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group presents The Beat Fest. It's a Bahamian musical experience on March 14th at The Pond. Doors open 7 p.m. sharp. Performing live, Shine, Stevie S, Mama D, Veronica Bishop, Funky D, all backed up by The Pond Band. Hosted by Joe Cools, 1K Gaza, and Jess Mo. Music by 103.5 The Beat DJ. Tickets available now at all Beauty Shack locations. General admission, $30. VIP, $75. Get your tickets early. Spots are limited. Sponsored by Mazzari International, The Plug, and The Beauty Shack. And of course, 103.5 The Beat.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you all tuned in this evening, and welcome to Temperature Check. Now, you all, of course, you know Temperature Check was introduced last year. It is the political sort of show within a show, because you know this is Beyond the Headlines, but it is the political analysis show where we break down constituency by constituency, candidate by candidate of what they're doing. If it's an incumbent, well, what has that person done? How have they shown up this term. If it's a newcomer, well, you can't necessarily be brand new to politics and expect to be elected. So then, what's your footprint looking like? How have you shown up before? What are some of the things, perhaps issues you've led, issues you're passionate about? So this is what temperature check is. And then at the end of it all, just as it stands right now, the panelists say where a particular constituency is leaning at this very moment. And so it's pretty exciting. I'm happy that you all have embraced it. You all look forward to it. And of course, we have 41 constituencies to get through. This is now number 7. Yes, you all? Number 8. This is our 8th constituency. And so let's get into it. The constituency is called Mangrove Key, Central, and South Andros. And so, you all, let's start and begin. There are the candidates right there, as you can see on the screen. Let me introduce them to you. To your immediate left, so we are going to go in the order that it's presented on the screen. That is the Coalition of Independence candidate, Carlton Clare. There was a little bit of confusion about that, but this is who the candidate is in Central and South Andros. Carlton Clare for the Coalition of Independence. In the middle is the incumbent, the PLP's Leon Lundy. And at the end is the Free National Movement's Julian Gibson. And so now there's our temperature check this week. Those are our candidates, and let's jump right in. Peggy Gabrielle Howard, let us first look at the Coalition of Independence, Carlton Clare. What can we say about him? What is it that we know about him? And just what has he done, and what is he doing in the South Andros constituency?
Well, I guess I'll jump in there first. So I found out quite recently that Mr. Clare is the candidate for the COI. There's some confusion on social media and on the various pages of the COI, where there was a previous candidate by the name of Trevor Green.
Right, that's the one. That's the one I actually thought was the candidate. Yes.
And I was confused as I did my initial research, because I saw this Trevor Green as the candidate for both South Andros and for Tall Pines as well. And so I decided to go and dig a little further. And as I dug a little further, I found a recent event that was held in Mangrove Key, South Andros and Central Andros constituency by the COI, where their chairman was introducing this Carlton Clare gentleman as their candidate. So the one thing, quickly, the colleagues can jump in, that I found out as he spoke during this event was Mr. Clare has stated that when the COI and himself are elected as the government of the Bahamas, he will be introducing something called island state governance to the island of Andros. I don't know if it's going to be everywhere, but he said this will be headed by a strong mayor system, and they're going to have a committee. And so Andros is going to keep the money that Andros generates within the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That will not be headed to the central government anymore. Andros will keep that money and do what they need to do for the further development and progress of the island of Andros. That was all I was able to find.
Yes, I'll tell you, that idea is something that many islands have pushed out there, particularly those islands whose economy is extremely strong, like, for example, Abaco, like Eleuthera. The thought is let most of, certainly perhaps around 50% of that money, stay on island to get things done, like roadworks, like I guess sidewalks and street lights, and things that lead and lends toward great infrastructure for residents on those islands. Peggy, Gabrielle, your thoughts on, and what is it that you discovered about Carlton Clare for the COI?
I put some fresh honey in my chamomile tea today. Because I think, I don't know, I was watering with some bees or something, and I'm saying everything that no one wants to say. This is the time when Shanique should jump in and say, only one host. This is the time when y'all
I have nothing to say.
Y'all think so? Now she want me. You won't cost me of the same.
Say it,
Why
please.
do we constantly be going through this? Literally, it is a headache. A headache just finding any sort of information about the Coalition of Independence candidates. There's always a mix-up, and then you get attacked. trying to find out information that is not clear or visible to us and the general public. The first set of ratification going off, Mr. Trevor Green was identified as the candidate. He was from Andros, I believe, the persons told me about, and then I was informed, no, it ain't Trevor Green no more. They sent him the Tall Pines, and now it's Captain Crunch. That is his name, and that's what the people of Andros told me. Y'all want me to tell y'all, or y'all don't want me to tell y'all? Captain Crunch, and I saw it on his page as well. Saw it on his page.
Are you saying you spoke with
I
people
spoke to the people in Andros, and they told me, they say people don't really go by their names. They go by their street names. This is what the big yard tell me, man. Why y'all acting new? They say they know him down there as Captain Crunch. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. I just report what I get told, okay? So the people down in the big yard say he moved to South Andros about 5 or 6 years ago, but there was nothing really tangible that they can see him doing, and they don't even know why we're having this conversation, because that race ain't happening. There ends the scripture reading. You're welcome.
Me?
Peggy, yes.
I spend about 30 to 45 minutes looking for stuff on Trevor. I just found out of the scrapping crunch.
I blame Shanique for this, you know. I blame Shanique because every week she wants us come here talking about
COI.
the COI.
There's nothing out there, Shanique.
I need you to get 20% of the vote, win the seat, and then win a seat, and then we can have you a part of the conversation seriously.
But I'll tell you this, I bet when we get to other constituencies and speak
Which
about, I'm not even calling it because you didn't slap up that first thing in a minute. When we get when we get to certain other constituencies, you will hear, you will have more to say. You will have more to say. Yes.
Yeah, a little bit more controversial, but as an entire line, for them having ratified these candidates for so long, I mean,
it's terrible.
It's not.
It's terrible.
It's not there.
Because if you're going to invest $400 in a process, at least promote yourself. See, that's the part that I struggle with.
Certainly. Okay, then. Okay. When you get to Central Grand Bahama, you will have more to say when we
Who
speak.
that is?
What you mean? Aaron Lewis.
Aaron Lewis gave them a seat.
Would you say again?
That's the FNM candidate.
He wasn't elected there. He wasn't elected there as a coalition of independents candidate. So we cannot say that they.
No. Whatever he's done, we still will talk about him where he sits now. That's my friend. Leave Aaron alone.
Leave Aaron alone.
That's
a short conversation.
Leave Aaron. Peg, you put that mug down. That's what you must do. Leave him alone. Let's move forward. Okay then. Now let's move. Yes. Gabrielle, and there's one host of the show. One host. I know, right?
There it is.
So the Free National Movement's Julian Gibson. Let's talk about Julian. Of course, I'll tell you this. Julian is a former colleague. Julian he was in media for quite some time as a sports reporter. Julian, I think, relocated to Andros, or perhaps even has roots in Andros, but also relocated to Andros now for some time. And now he is the Free National Movement's candidate for the South Andros constituency. So let's talk about what is Julian about? What is his vision, if you can tell it? What is it that he is doing in South Andros to get him, number one, that ratification, and then obviously to gain the people's attention and trust?
Well, Shanique, I don't know if you're aware that this was not Mr. Julian Gibson's first attempt at candidacy with the Free National Movement. You said all the things that he was, and I was able to find a Facebook page. We started after being ratified by the Free National Movement for this election. He has had, I think, 2 town hall meetings. He's traveling to each section of his constituency, because there are bodies of water in between, and he's having town hall meetings. He's having association meetings. I think the most interesting thing, and I wish I could find it, Mr. Julian has put out on his page his plans
Okay, let's
for Central Andros. And if Gabby would jump in, I'll try and find these plants.
Okay.
If you got
So one of the residents of Andros told me, you don't get more Androsian than Julian Gibson. The people of Andros are extremely excited about a homegrown. They said this reminds them, he gives them that feeling they had when Picewell represented them actually. They said he's engaging the youth advocacy issues. He's been advocating for running water up there since 2024 as sections of South Andros still did not have running water. He was an advocate and making some of those things happen. This snapper fish tournament happening in Andros. As you know, they are extremely industrious down there in terms of making fishing, crabbing, all those things that they do to export their local produce down to the capital.
He's introduced an additional festival.
He's making sure, yes.
that it runs smoothly.
That everything runs, yes.
Okay,
and he had a
hold that thought right there. When we come back, we are going to hear from the others about Julian Gibson. Gabrielle, you can wrap up exactly what your thoughts are. And then, of course, you all know we are making our way to the incumbent, the Progressive Liberal Party's Member of Parliament and candidate, Leon Lundy, speaking about South and Central Andros when we come back here on Temperature Check. Stay close.
The Fox Foundation proudly presents the keynote speaker for the 3rd Annual Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative, this March 19th at 7 p.m. at the beautiful Baha Mar Resort. Get ready to be inspired by Randy Zuckerberg, tech innovator and the creator of Facebook Live. She revolutionized real-time digital engagement, empowering individuals and brands to broadcast instantly to global audiences. And now she brings that innovation and insight to the Fox Foundation's 3rd Annual Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative, March 19th at 7 p.m. at the Baha Mar Resort. Under this year's theme, Give to Gain, join us for a night designed to inspire growth, spark opportunity, and strengthen the future of women in business.
Hey, it's time to lock in your vote.
Your vote is your power.
With the new boundaries in place, you may need to transfer or confirm your voter registration.
And if you have never registered or didn't plan to vote,
don't get left out on one of the most important decisions of your future.
Make sure when election day comes, you're ready to say,
your say, your vote, your choice.
Okay, guys, this is what we doing today. We training for the bounce back. This $150K payday. Y'all ready? Yes. Y'all sweating today. Give me a 2 ball. 10. Give me another 2 ball. 15. You spin, right? It don't look so. It's 10K. Name these games after me. Fruit Dragon.
Fruit Dragon.
Cinema Classic.
Cinema Classic.
Yeah. Put that parlay in. Put that in. You know, Jalen Brunson disappointed us last time. You want to walk for this or you want to run for this? Good pace. Good pace. Not too much water. Put it down. Let's go.
It's the Bounce Back 150K payday. Big wins for 10 weeks straight. 15K every week. 10K to a lucky winner. Visit islandluck.com for more info. Island Luck. Winners live here. 103.5 is turning 8 years old. 103.5 The Beat and Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group presents The Beat Fest. It's a Bahamian musical experience on March 14th at The Pond. Doors open 7 p.m. sharp. Performing live, Shine, Stevie S, Mama D, Veronica Bishop, Funky D, all backed up by The Pond Band. Hosted by Joe Cools, 1K Gaza, and Jess Mo. Music by 103.5 The Beat DJ. Tickets available now at all Beauty Shack locations. General admission, $30. VIP, $75. Get your tickets early. Spots are limited. Sponsored by Mazzari International, The Plug, and The Beauty Shack. And of course, 103.5 The Beat.
Welcome back to Being on the Headlines. It is Temperature Check Wednesdays. Today we are looking at the constituency of South and Central Andros and Mangrove Key. It's one constituency. Don't mind all the ands I put in there. It's one constituency. The candidates for that, the Coalition of Independents, Carlton Clare, the Free National Movement's Julian Gibson, the Progressive Liberal Parties, and the incumbent, Leon Lundy. Now, we were kind of trying to work our way through and wrap up on Julian Gibson. Gabrielle, you wrap up before Howard jumps in.
Yeah, I just wanted to conclude by saying Andros is very excited. Mangrove Key, South and Central Andros. It's a lot to swallow in one bite. So they are excited about Julian. Julian is buzzing down there. He's been putting in the work. He's like Peggy mentioned, this isn't his first time going at it. So I believe he's had a chance to learn from whatever mistakes he may have made and bounce back and really galvanize the support of Androsians down there. So he has a good chance and is looking very good in that constituency.
Yeah, Shanique, there's no surprise about Julian's community activism and advocacy. I grew up in Eleuthera, and Julian's mother is from South Andros, but his father is from South Eleuthera. So I grew up playing sports, and Julian was active and instrumental in doing everything from coaching and refereeing and all of the other stuff, everything in between, softball. And so doing the same thing in his mother's hometown of South Andros is no surprise. So when I did my research, I was able to find information, although relatively new. And in all fairness to Mr. Gibson, he just became the ratified candidate recently. So he's been canvassing the constituency. I've seen some of that new to his social media officially as a ratified candidate. The town hall meetings that he's had a couple of town hall meetings. And per his social media, he has been providing groceries to those in need, donations to community churches, assistance to fishermen, he had a South Andros textbook giveaway, and then a lot of the stuff that has to do with sports in the local festivals, basketball tournaments, and stuff like that. Julian has been doing, and so that's what I was able to find from my research. But in talking to, getting feedback from residents, I just want to read to you some of the stuff that I got on both him and Mr. Lundy. So one person said that he's on the ground working, but he does not have much traction. And then there's another one that says they don't feel like he is attracting any new voters.
See, Howard, okay, Howard, this is where you don't call Lundy's name because we don't know who you're talking about now. Who are they talking about right now at this moment?
Julian, that's who I'm talking about. We're on Julian. We haven't said anything about
Yes, but you
Lundy.
mentioned Mr. Lundy's name for a moment. So let's start with you. So you're saying that, finish up your Julian comment.
Okay, so the two comments that I just read were about Julian Gibson. So I've spoken to residents. Sorry if I said Lundy. I've spoken to residents about, a few residents about Julian Gibson, and they said that Julian is on the ground working, but they don't think that he has much traction. And then another one said they don't think he's attracting any new voters. That is Julian Gibson.
Okay.
My apologies.
Okay. No, that's fine, Howard. That's fine. Okay, Howard, let's just start with you. Let's move on to the Progressive Liberal Party's Leon Lundy. Of course, you all know he's the sitting member of Parliament and also the incumbent headed into the general election. Howard, what have you found out about Leon Lundy, how he has served this term, and even his vision, what he does, how excited does he have the residents of Central, South, Mangrove Key, Andros?
So, Shanique, very quickly, I believe that for any of the PLP incumbents who are running again to be successful, you have to do two things very well. You have to maintain a visibility in your constituency, and you have to execute almost phenomenally on your deliverables. And so here's what I was able to glean about Mr. Lundy with that being said. About 1 week ago, I don't know if you and my colleagues can remember, there was a $20 million power deal that was signed and for the installation of 3 hybrid power plants in North and South Andros. And this power deal is supposed to, these hybrid power plants will replace the aging diesel power generators, and they're slated to be placed in Nicholstown, the Bluff, and in Fresh Creek. So there's also some road paving that I found north of Deep Creek Preschool. There was a stretch of road that appeared to be in terrible condition that was fixed. Mr. Lundy had a delivery of some new police vehicles in South and Central Andrews late last year. And then also there was a $22 million contract to upgrade water and road infrastructure in Mangrove Key, an 18-month project that started at the end of last year. I believe it was October. And so with it being signed for 18 months, those works are still ongoing. And there's also other road works and pipeline projects in Driggs Hill and other areas of South Andrews. And just a few things from residents that were said. Let me pull that up real quickly about Mr. Lundy. So they said Mr. Lundy is working on the ground regularly, but he has some disgruntled residents who were promised their land papers and they haven't gotten those yet. And they said that they believe that the people will only support Mr. Lundy. They believe that the people will support Mr. Lundy again, if only by a slim margin. So they give him the edge over Mr. Gibson.
I was able to, I can confirm everything Howard just said because Mr. Lundy has a rich Facebook page where it is well documented what he's been doing over the last 4 years. One of the things that Howard did not mention was his relationship and his interaction with the young people of Andrews, empowering them, giving them contracts as to empower them. He rented two private planes to get the basketball team to Long Island East that connected. And 2 weeks ago, I went to South Andrews and I was able to talk with some of the residents. And I mean, the young man came to me because they watch. Hi, y'all. They watch. And they was wondering when we're going to talk about Leon Lundy. He has great support in South Andrews. He was there.
So the men you're saying are excited?
The man was excited to talk about what he's doing to uplift them, to empower them. The young coach with the team, they're just so pleased with what he's doing. And then the women and the senior men, where I was that day, Lundy had almost 100% support of the people who were gathered at that event. And I watched Mr. Lundy. Mr. Lundy is moving through his constituency in silence, but he's doing a great job. Even today, if you look at Mr. Lundy's day, he delivered a great speech in the House of Assembly on behalf of the Prime Minister. Mr. Lundy then went to Central Andrews to a health fair. After that, he went to Mango Key Andrews to issue awards that is in his name that he's been giving to the young people in school even before he entered politics.
Also, he has a track record of acknowledging young people and their hard work and academics.
Yes, he works with them.
I don't want to belabor this too long because I know we're almost out of time, but I wanted to really summarize everything that Peggy and Howard has said. But really to wrap it up, in this constituency, Lundy is actually living off of legacy. This is a legacy. South Andrews is the Anglican of the islands. When we look at it legacy-wise in terms of the pull that the Progressive Liberal Party has within that constituency.
You mean from the father of the nation days?
From the father of the nation. When we look at it, there has only been 2 other times that seat has sat outside of the Progressive Liberal Party, being an independent candidate, Mr. Bastian, and being when the Free National Movement was able to pick it up in the by-election after the father of the nation's resignation, when he stepped down. That was the only 2 times this seat ever moved away from the Progressive Liberal Party. They have such a strong hold on this seat. But is Leon Lundy the candidate they should have held there to continue? Because people are still a little vexed about Picewell. And when you have them comparing Julian to being the Picewell.
Are they comparing Picewell? Are they comparing Leon Lundy to Picewell? And
no,
they're
play down.
Hold on, Peggy. You just had a 5-minute segment.
No, but you're trying to play down what he's doing.
I'm not playing down what he's doing. I'm giving you the history and what people are saying. A lot of people, like Howard say, are waiting. One of the ladies said they were promised land papers and he was in the office of the Prime Minister responsible for issuing Crown land. This was a campaign promise that was not delivered to them on. They also said the fishing license fees went up. This is how we make our monies. They know what it is we do down here, and there are taxes put on our backs that we in Andros cannot afford. These are the cries that people are really looking at, and they're looking, and this is why they're looking to Julian Gibson.
So now here's the question. Here is the all-important question right now. Peggy Gabrielle Howard, as it stands at this very moment, where is Central and South Andros Mangrove Key constituency leaning? Peggy?
Lundy, PLP.
Gabrielle?
In this case, it's leaning with Julian.
Howard?
Leaning PLP.
Okay, so there you have it. 2 says it's leaning PLP, 1 says it's leaning F&M. And listen, we're not going to tease where we're going next week, but certainly, of course, you understand it's getting hot, y'all. It's getting hot. The opinions are theirs, the thoughts, the investigations are theirs. They actually go out and speak with people, whether it's phone calls, whether it's going to constituencies, and one even travel to a family island. I hope you'll go to every family island. But I thank you all very, very much. Temperature check. Central and South Andros, that was number 8.
Yes.
Yes, and so now next week we will move on to the 9th constituency. Where will it be? You must stay tuned. Thank you all so very much for being here this evening. All of my panel, show your shirts off, you guys. Of course, I want to say a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in this evening. It's been awesome having you hang out with us. For the entire Being on the Headlines team and the Temperature Check team / Be on the Headlines, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.